Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CM Trading. And today is October 13, 2023, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching the markets pretty much cool off almost across the board. But first, looking at today's major economic events. So we start out the day at 10 a.m. South African time. Out of Great Britain, Governor Bailey will be speaking. That's followed up out of the United States at 4 p.m. South African time with consumer sentiment. Now looking at the various markets going into these numbers, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the British pound that got that bounce and looked like they were trending back higher, get a dead cat bounce, which means it's back on their lows and it was just a short covering. Now looking at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ taper off. Looking at commodities, gold steady as it holds on to its gains, while oil bounces. Now looking at the stocks, the tech stocks remain mixed. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, unchanged for Bitcoin. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Euro USD, and we retraced. I mean, this is just unbelievable. We're right there still at the bottom of our lows, looking at a weekly chart. But if we scale back to a daily chart, you can see it quite clearly. We are at 105.50-ish level after bouncing off of that 150-ish level as we sold off yesterday. And that's hitting that 30-day moving average, which remained a resistance-ish area. So what we did was we sold off tremendously, and then we got a big bounce, which makes sense because all these people that are short need to cover their shorts, and then couldn't sustain that rally because it wasn't a rally, it was just a short covering. And sure enough, we're back on our lows. So this may mean that we may make further lows. Now looking at the British pound, almost the same thing, as this also did retrace. Now jumping into commodities, first looking at gold, it is still resilient. 1882, when we look at a 30-minute chart, you could see we're almost back at our highs as that has continued just steady. Even though we took a little bit of a step off the gas yesterday, we're back on our highs as this is steady with its gains. Now looking at oil, did get a bounce at $82 a barrel as this retraced from $94. And that's to make sense. It's going to trade within a range, at least for now. And so $82 is very important because that was our gap up as we took it up and then we filled it. And sure enough, this is where support lies. Now looking at the U.S. markets, the Dow Jones sold off yesterday from 34,178 to 33,800. That is a decent move for a one-day sell-off. Now, between the market hours and after-market hours, that we are right now about 33,860 something-ish level. And that's a bounce. Now we're in between our two moving levels and the consumer sentiment coming out. And then next week we start with Tesla coming out with corporate earnings. So we've got things along the way that are coming out. Now looking at the NASDAQ, same thing, tapered off. Okay, so everything is fair. Now yesterday we did cover that Facebook did hit new highs for the year and it sold off. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's weak. It just means that it's making a double top, at least for now, which may mean that comes when they issue their corporate earning reports. This may mean that it's really hasn't been that great of a stellar year, and this was just a pump up and then a dump later. So keep that in mind, as that is still an option. Now looking at the other major corporations, Apple continued and held on to its gains yesterday and even took it even higher to 180-ish level. So it's a little bit mixed. It's not everything went down. Microsoft unchanged day to day. Google remained unchanged. So it's really just very important to understand Google actually retracing. It was actually Amazon that remained unchanged. So everything is just like not trading all together at the same time. So it's a little bit more difficult. You have to make a list of strong stocks, weak stocks, and then, apportion them accordingly when they are trading. Lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin remains unchanged at the bottom of its range. So really not doing much. So I wish everybody a great weekend. Thank you.